Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Book Club with Darth Jesse here at Main Branch Rocks. I'm very excited to continue reading with you guys some of our book club books. This one is for Ms. Bea and Jay. It is The Hunger Games. We are already on chapter 9, so we are not going to be starting over at the very beginning. So feel free, if you guys want to pick up on chapter 9 or start at the beginning of your own book, you're more than welcome to. But just really quick, we know that Katniss and Peeta are part of District 12, that they have been reaped for the Hunger Games. Remember that Katniss volunteered as tribute to save her little sister Prim. They have been training in the Capitol for a while. They've done a couple different things. They've gone through their scores and stuff like that, and they're getting ready for their very last interview before heading into the arena. So, chapter 9, here we go. Betrayal. That's the first thing I feel, which is ludicrous. For there to be betrayal, there would have to be trust first between Peeta and me, and trust has not been part of the agreement. We're tributes. But the boy who risked a beating to give me bread, the one who steadied me in the chariot, who covered for me with the red-headed Avox girl, who insisted Haymitch knew my hunting skills, was there some part of me that couldn't help trusting him? On the other hand, I'm relieved that we can stop the pretense of being friends. Obviously, whatever thin connection we foolishly formed had been severed, and high time too. The games began in 2 days, and trust will only be a weakness. Whatever triggered Peeta's decision, and I'm suspect it has to do with my outperforming him in training, I should be nothing but grateful for it. Maybe he's finally accepted the fact that the sooner we openly acknowledge that we are enemies, the better. Good, I say. So what's the schedule? You'll each have 4 hours with Effie for presentation and 4 with me for content, says Haymitch. You start with Effie, Katniss. I can't imagine what Effie will have to teach me that could take 4 hours, but she got me working to the last minute. We go to my room. She puts me in a full-length gown and high-heeled shoes, not the ones I would be wearing for the actual interview, and instructs me on walking. The shoes are the worst part. I've never worn high heels and can't get used to essentially wobbling around on the balls of my feet. But Effie runs around in them full time, and I'm determined that if she can do it, so can I. The dress poses another problem. It keeps tangling around my shoes, so of course I hitch it up, and then Effie swoops down on me like a hawk, smacking my hands and yelling, "Not above the ankle!" When I finally conquer walking, they're still setting posture. Apparently, I have a tendency to duck my head, eye contact, hand gestures, and smiling. Smiling is mostly about smiling more. Effie makes me say 100 banal phrases, starting with a smile, while smiling, or ending with a smile. By lunch, the muscles in my cheeks are twitching from overuse. Well, that's the best I can do, Effie says with a sigh. Just remember, Katniss, you want the audience to like you. And you don't think they will, I ask? Not if you glare at them the entire time. Why don't you save that for the arena? Instead, think of yourself among friends, says Effie. They're betting on how long I'll live, I burst out. They're not my friends. Well, try and pretend, snaps Effie. Then she composes herself and beams at me. See, like this, I'm smiling at you even though you aggravate me. Yes, it feels very convincing, I say. I'm gonna go eat. I kick off my heels and stomp down to the dining room, hiking my skirt up to my thighs. Peeta and Haymitch seem in pretty good moods, so I'm thinking the content session should be an improvement over the morning. I couldn't have been more wrong. After lunch, Haymitch takes me to the sitting room, directs me to the couch, and then just frowns at me for a while. What? I finally ask. I'm trying to figure out what to do with you, he says. How are we going to present you? Are you going to be charming, aloof, fierce? So far, you're shining like a star. You volunteered to save your sister. Sita made you look unforgettable. You got the top training score. People are intrigued, but no one knows who you are. The impression you make tomorrow will decide exactly what I can get you in terms of sponsors, says Haymitch. Having watched the Tribute interviews all my life, I know that there's truth to what he's saying. If you appeal to the crowd, either by being humorous or brutal or eccentric, you gain favor. What's Peeta's approach? Or am I not allowed to ask, I say? Likeable. He has a sort of self-deprecating humor naturally, says Hamish, whereas when you open your mouth, you come across more sullen and hostile. I do not, I say. Please. I don't know where you pulled that cheery, wavy girl on the chariot from, but I haven't seen her before nor since, says Hamish. And you've given me so many reasons to be cheery, I counter. But you don't have to please me. I'm not going to sponsor you. So pretend I'm the audience, says Hamish. Delight me. Fine, I snarl. Hamish takes the role of the interviewer, and I try to answer his questions in a winning fashion, but I can't. I'm too angry with Hamish for what he said, and that I even have to answer the questions. All I can think is how unjust this whole thing is. The Hunger Games. Why am I hopping around like some trained dog trying to please people I hate? The longer the interview goes on, the more my fury seems to rise to the surface until I'm literally spitting out answers at him. All right, enough, he says. We've got to find another angle. Not only are you hostile, I don't know anything about you. I've asked you 50 questions and still have no sense of your life, your family, what you care about. These are the things they want to know about you, Katniss. But I don't want them to. They're already taking my future. They can't have the things that matter to me in the past, I say. Then lie. Make something up, says Hamish. I'm not good at lying, I say. Well, you better learn fast. You've got about as much charm as a dead slug, says Hamish. Ouch, that hurts. Even Hamish must know he's been too harsh because his voice softens. Here's an idea. Try acting humble. Humble, I echo? That you can't believe a little girl from District 12 has done so well. The whole thing's been more than you ever could have dreamed of. Talk about Cinna's clothes, how nice the people are, how the city amazes you. If you can't talk about yourself, at least compliment the audience. Just keep turning it back around, all right? Gush. The next hours are agonizing. At once it's clear I cannot gush. We try playing cocky, but I just don't have the arrogance. Apparently, I'm too vulnerable for ferocity. I'm not witty, funny, or mysterious. By the end of the session, I'm no one at all. Hamish starts drinking somewhere around witty, and a nasty edge has creeped into his voice. I give up, sweetheart. Just answer the question and try not to let the audience see how openly you despise them. I have dinner that night in my room, ordering an outrageous number of delicacies, eating myself sick, and then taking out my anger at Hamish, at the Hunger Games, at every living being in the Capitol by smashing dishes around my room. When the girl with the red hair comes in to turn down my bed, her eyes widen at the mess. Just leave it, I yell at her. Just leave it alone. I hate her too, with her knowing, reproachful eyes that call me a coward, a monster, a puppet of the Capitol, both now and then. For her, justice must finally be happening. At least my death will pay for the life of the boy in the woods. But instead of fleeing the room, the girl closes the door behind her and goes to the bathroom. She comes back with a damp cloth and wipes my face gently, then cleans the blood from the broken plate off my hands. Why is she doing this? Why am I letting her? I should have tried to save you, I whispered. She shakes her head. Does that mean we were right to stand by? That she has forgiven me? No, it was wrong, I said. She taps her lips with her fingers, then points to my chest. I think she means that I would have just ended up as an Avix too. Probably would have, an Avix or dead. I spend the next hour helping the redheaded girl clean the room. With all the garbage has been dropped down a disposal and the food cleaned away, she turns down my bed. I crawl in between the sheets like a 5-year-old and let her tuck me in. Then she goes. I want her to stay until I fall asleep, to be there when I wake up. I want the protection of this girl, even though she never had mine. In the morning, it's not the girl bent, but my prep team who's hanging over me. My lessons with Effie and Hamish is over. This day belongs to Cinna. He's my last hope. Maybe he can make me look so wonderful no one will care what comes out of my mouth. The team works on me until late afternoon, turning any skin to glowing satin, stenciling patterns on my arms, painting flame designs on my 20 perfect nails. Then Vina goes to work on my hair, weaving strands of red into a pattern that begins at my left ear, wraps around my head, and then falls in one braid down my right shoulder. They erase my face with a layer of pale makeup and draw my features back out. Huge dark eyes, full red lips, lashes that throw off bits of light when I blink. Finally, they cover my entire body in a powder that makes me shimmer in gold dust. Then Cinna enters with what I assume is my dress, but I can't really see it because it's covered. Close your eyes, he orders. I feel the silken inside as they slip it down over my body. Then the weight. It must be 40 pounds. I clutch Octavia's hand as I blindly step into my shoes, glad to find that they are at least 2 inches lower than the pair Effie had me practice in. There's some adjusting and fidgeting, then silence. Can I open my eyes, I ask? Yes, Cinna says, open them. The creature standing before me in the full-length mirror has come from another world, where skin shimmers and eyes flash, and apparently they make their clothes from jewels. Because my dress is entirely covered in reflective, precious gems, red and yellow and white, with bits of blue that accent the tips of the flame design. The singlest movement gives the impression I am engulfed in tongues of fire. I am not pretty, I'm not beautiful. I am as radiant as the sun. For a while, we all just stare at me. Oh, Cinna, I finally whisper, thank you. Twirl for me, he says. I hold out my arms and spin in a circle. The prep team screams in admiration. Cinna dismisses the team and has me move around in the dress and shoes, which are infinitely more manageable than Effie's. The dress hangs in such a way that I don't have to lift the skirt when I walk, leaving me with one less thing to worry about. So all ready for the interview then? Asks Cinna. I can see by his expression that he's been talking to Hamish, that he knows how dreadful I am. I'm awful. Hamish calls me a dead slug. No matter what we tried, I couldn't do it. I just can't be one of those people he wants me to be, I say. Cinna thinks about this for a moment. Why don't you just be yourself? Myself? That's no good either. Hamish says I'm sudden and hostile. I say, well, you are, around Hamish, says Cinna with a grin. I don't find you so. The prep team adores you. You even won over the game makers. And as for the citizens of the capital, well, they can't stop talking about you. No one can help but admire your spirit. My spirit? This is a new thought. I'm not exactly sure what it means, but it suggests that I am a fighter. It's sort of brave way, in a sort of brave way. It's not as if I'm never friendly. Okay, maybe I don't go around loving everybody I meet. Maybe my smiles are hard to come by, but I do care for some people. Cinna takes my icy hands in his warm ones. Suppose when you answer the questions, you think you're addressing a friend back home. Who would your best friend be? Asks Cinna. Gale, I say instantly. Only it doesn't make sense, Cinna. I would never be telling Gale these things about me. He already knows about them. Well, what about me? Could you think of me as a friend? Asked Cinna. Of all the people I've met since I've left home, Cinna is by far my favorite. I liked him right off, and he hasn't disappointed me yet. I think so, but I'll be sitting on the main platform with the other stylists. You'll be able to look right at me. When you're asked a question, find me and answer it as honestly as possible, says Cinna. Even if what I think is horrible, I ask, because it might be, really. Especially if you think it's horrible, says Cinna. You'll try it? I nod. It's a plan, or at least a straw to grasp at. Too soon, it's time to go. The interviews take place on a stage constructed in front of the training center. Once I leave my room, it'll be only the matter of minutes until I'm in front of a crowd, the cameras, all of Pan Am. As Cinna turns the doorknob, I stop his hand. Cinna, I'm completely overcome with stage fright. Remember, they already love you, he says gently. Just be yourself. We meet up with the rest of District 12 crowd at the elevator. Portia and her gang have been hard at work. Peeta looks striking in a black suit with flame accents. While we look well together, it's a relief not to be dressed identically. Haymitch and Effie are all fancied up for the occasion. I avoid Haymitch, but accept Effie's compliments. Effie can be tiresome and clueless, but she's not destructive like Haymitch. When the elevator opens, the other tributes are being lined up to take the stage. All 24 of us in a big arc throughout the interviews. I will be last or second to last, since the girl tribute precedes the boy from each district. How I wish I could be first and get the whole thing out of the way. Now I'll have to listen to how witty, funny, humble, fierce, and charming everybody else is before I go up. Plus, the audience will start to get bored just as the game makers did. And I couldn't exactly shoot an arrow into the crowd to get their attention. Right before we parade onto the stage, Haymitch comes up behind Peeta and me and growls, "Remember, you're still a happy pair, so act like it." What? I thought we'd abandoned that when Peeta asked to be for separate coaching. But I guess that was a private, not a public thing. Anyway, there's not much chance for interaction now as we walk single file to our seats and take our places. All right, we're stopping in the middle of chapter 9 just because it is a fairly long chapter. So, girls, here are my questions for you for your notebooks. So, I would like you to design Cinna's dress that he made for Katniss. I know both of you two are very artistic, and this will be fun for you. So please design Cinna's dress that he made for Katniss. All right, that's the only thing I'm going to have you do in your notebooks this week. I will see you guys soon. We all love you and miss you, and may the Force be with you. Bye.